Hi, Rich Carrubba. I'm back for bowlingball.com, and I want to talk to you today about the third part of our series of articles and videos, how senior bowlers can prepare for competition. In the first part, and the first video we talked about selecting a tournament where you compete against people in your own age category, and also about physical game mechanics, what you can do to get yourself tuned up for competition, and about exercising and stretching. In our second series, in the second video, we talked a little bit about bowling balls, the cover stocks, matching to ranges of oil conditions, and now we want to discuss in this third part preparations for specific events that you might have already on your calendar, and what you need to do to hit the pocket at a higher degree of proficiency. Well, one of the things that you need to do is, before we even talk about the things to get better at hitting the pocket and to finding ways to prepare against for your competition, is to understand that practice doesn't only refer to bowling several games at your local bowling center just to keep your arm loose, but rather to practice in a simulated tournament condition if at all possible. So wherever you have your tournament scheduled next, we want you to try to find the type of lane conditions that you'll likely face when you arrive at that given event. Might take a little homework, a little research time on your part, so don't be lazy. Make some calls, talk to people that might have already bowled there, and find out what kind of conditions you're bowling on, the oil pattern specifically. It helps to know that. It also helps to make sure that you practice with different bowling balls and different bowling shoes. That's right, you should have more than one pair of shoes if you're a serious competitive bowler. Or if you have one pair of shoes, it better be ones that have interchangeable heels and sliding soles, shouldn't it? That way you can encounter any different friction factor on an approach, different climate, wherever you might travel to bowl. All those things are important. But when you locate a lane condition in your area that you can practice with a similar lane condition that you might encounter in the tournament, the first thing you need to do is be ready to get lined up after your warm-up deliveries are completed. If you're in a tournament where they give you 10 minutes of deliveries or 4 deliveries, whatever it happens to be, try to get lined up enough and be stretched out and exercise a little before you bowl so you can deliver your ball pretty close to your primary operating speed and be ready to go when the lights come on. Let's think about that a little bit. When you start bowling tournaments, they're usually 3 games in duration, or maybe 5 or 6 games in duration. So let's break it down a little bit and why it's important to hit the pocket with a high ratio or high percentage of deliveries. For example, in a 3-game session, you have 33 key deliveries, don't you? 11 frames. The 12th is just a fill ball for count. So in 33 deliveries, if you can hit the pocket a high percentage of time, you might strike 60% of the time. The pros strike 60 to 65% of their deliveries, so it might be tough for you to strike more than that number of deliveries or that percentage. If you're on an easier lane condition and you're a pretty good bowler and you can hit the pocket a lot, obviously then you have a greater opportunity to strike. So that's our objective. Get lined up as quickly as possible. If you line up right at the first frame and you can hit the pocket right on your first frame of your first game, instead of waiting to halfway through the game, you're going to save 4 or 5 deliveries where you have a better percentage of hitting the pocket. At the end of that session, you could have higher scores because you're ready, you're prepared. That's the whole point. Next is parallel adjustments or any type of lane adjustments. Once you're out there and you're practicing at home for a tournament, practice making your adjustments. If you don't hit the pocket, which way do you move? Right, left? Do you move your feet so many boards? Your target on the lane so many boards? Parallel adjustment strategies can be making a 1-in-1 adjustment, one with your feet, one with your eyes, where you sight on the lane at your target area. 2-in-1, 3-in-1, whatever type of adjustments you practice with your coach or you're used to doing. And by all means, and a lot of you senior bowlers are stuck on the second arrow or in the ball track between second and third arrow, and that's about as far to the right or far to the left that you ever move. Try to practice where you sweep across the lane and make a series of adjustments, because a lot of conditions can provide pretty high scores and an easy route to the pocket if you can get into moving, maybe playing across the center part of the lane or toward the edges of the lane, depending on the given lane condition. You have to practice your adjustments. And not only that, you want to practice for the type of event you're going to bowl in. If it's a team tournament, for example, see if you can get the group together and go bowl 3 games on a similar type lane condition, if that's possible to do. And, then at that point, the lane will break down like it will in the tournament event. If you just bowl 3 games on a pair of lanes, you're not going to change the lane condition as much as if 10 people are bowling on that same pair of lanes. And try to practice on a pair of lanes, alternating shots, getting lined up, making your adjustments. All those things will give you an advantage over bowlers who just show up for a tournament in the blind, have no idea what condition they're bowling on, and they're not ready. And finally, equipment. We talked in a previous article about cover stocks matching to tournament conditions. Well, it's important that you practice with all your equipment, including your bowling shoes, and try to match the cover stock surface preparation strategies that you use to those lane conditions. So that means getting into your pro shop, experimenting with different textured surfaces. You can layer grit textures over on top, one on top of another, until you get your bowling ball surface prepared, and could be with polishes and so on. You want to make sure you have a full range of surfaces that can match to the lane pattern. One of the things that we suggest today is to consider using, if you're going to bring a new ball that's undrilled to the tournament and drill it on the site, if you're that into your competitive bowling, use a hybrid cover stock, because they're a blend of reactive resin and a blend of urethane, and it kind of neutralizes overreaction if you get a real wet, dry condition like the red pattern, typical house conditions, or if the lanes are really hooking a lot, you can still control it, get a controllable motion at transitioning in the mid lane at the break point. So those are some tips that I think can help you prepare for competition. Get out and work out it a little bit. Don't be lazy. A lot of you people just want to grab your bowling balls out of your closet, put them in the car, drive to a tournament and bowl. That's fine, but if you want better results, you got to put more into it. Hope these tips help, and thank you for taking some time to listen.